Why, hello there, Internet people. Today I'm going to be playing another deck that is not going to make any sense on paper, but we're hopefully going to have a little bit of fun with. So we're going to be trying Ponza, but instead of with the Arbor Elf, Utopia Sprawl package, we're just going to be on straight up land destruction in Rakdos. So I actually don't have high hopes for this one. Hopefully it puts up some results. Most of the games we win are probably going to be from cheesing out Blood Moon or opponents keeping a one lander and having us just be fortunate. But yeah, let's go ahead and start working through this. So first and foremost, we are land destruction. So we have Fulminator Mage, Avalanche Riders, and the ever popular Blood Moon. When I first started playing Modern, I was not a huge fan of Blood Moon. I actually felt like it was a really stupid card. Like you'd spend all this money to buy your shock lands, but Blood Moon actually just promotes healthy deck building. It really makes it so that 5 color doesn't really work, and I've come around. I'm a huge fan of Blood Moon. It doesn't lock you, it only locks you out if you make mistakes, you're not prepared for it. But then, on top of this, we're also going to be running the Lightning Skelemental Unearth package, as well as Dreadhorde Butcher. So this probably needs to be Dreadhorde Arcanist, but I really want to give Butcher a shot. Been looking for a shell, and it seems like a hasty aggro deck is the right place for that. Then we have, I guess I put Unearth on here twice. Yep, oh well. We have the Living End package. So hopefully we're going to be able to play Fulminator Mages, Avalanche Riders, blow up all the lands, Living End, just keep it going. Again, not overly excited with how this is looking, but it's going to be a fun deck, and we're going to destroy lands. And what does the internet love besides destroying lands? Not a whole lot, actually. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. Alright, well, we have a single land. We do have our combo, but nothing that we actually care about. I think we got to be shipping this one back. Alright, this is a start. So Bloodstained Mire is eventually going to get us a swamp. We have a Blackcleave Cliffs. We can Lightning Skelemental, Unearth it, Fulminator if it looks like they're off on land. So let's go ahead and hang on to this. Don't need the extra land. Faithless Looting would just be fantastic. Let's see, this is cycling 2. Yep. Odds are I'm not doing anything until turn 3, and it looks like it's Storm. Or, sorry, not Storm. Storm doesn't run fetches. Phoenix. Looks like Phoenix. Yeah, that's a Phoenix card. And another Unearth. So that means I'm going to get my Swamp here, and we can just cycle the Unearth. Opponent did lead on basic, so hopefully drawing into an Avalanche Riders, probably. Not overly excited about showing my opponent Unearth here, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, there's a Butcher. I like Butcher. Ooh, and a fast land. Alright, so I'm expecting the opponent to have Remand here, but it's not like I can actually do a whole lot about that. So let's go ahead and just run out our Lightning Skelemental. See what interaction they've got. Probably a Bolt at this point. Maybe a Gut Shot. Yep, they definitely got something. Opponent is definitely staying on the basics. That's unfortunate. Alright, that's one Bolt down. Now, next turn, Fulminator's not going to do anything. I'd really rather not show them the Fulminator until they actually get a non-basic. So this is looking like it's probably just going to be Dreadhorde Butcher, Unearth, Skelemental. And a tap land is perfectly acceptable. So, Dreadhorde Butcher. Pause while opponent reads this. It looked really promising, but didn't really see much play. So a lot of people were talking about different strategies for this, like you can become immense at mutagenic growth. Get a lot of different effects from it, but let's see what opponents got here. Alright, tap Steam Vents. This is definitely looking like it's the Phoenix deck, but they've had a slow start, like a super slow start. Oh, they're looking for an answer? I'm on board for that. I got black. So this is probably a surgical. Yep, that's painful. Yay, modern! The modern challenge just came out, and the average deck was running 6.5 graveyard hate pieces because of Hogok. And most of the decks were running 2 to 3 main board just because it's such a problem. But yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and move on to combat, see if opponents got the bolt. They definitely set up the mana for it. Guess not. Well, they did essentially just confirm themselves as Phoenix, which means this Fulminator is going to put them down a land. This Butcher's going to get bigger, hopefully become a threat. Man, that surgical hurt. One of the reasons I wasn't super psyched about this deck is because of how much graveyard hate is running around. It's really hard to play Living End, let alone Unearths on top of that. We have 8 pieces that care about our graveyard. Like, if they just slide into a Faithless Looting and bring back 2 Phoenixes, I would not be shocked at all. Okay, Thing in the Ice is a start. Odds are they can flip my Arcanist. Bolt off the top. We also hit 4 lands and we run 19 lands. Like, that's just so unfortunate. Alright, well, first things first, let's get the Butcher in. See if they want to respect the Bolt. Wow, ever since the update, Moto feels so slow. I'm losing like 2 seconds on every step. Alright, opponent, you called my bluff. Don't really care. Let's go ahead and Fulminator. Blow up your steam vents. Then looking for an Avalanche Rider, probably. Just blow up the mountain. Come on. There we go. Oh yeah. 4 seconds to play a land. 5. Up to 9. 10. Yay, Moto. Alright. Opponent's got 4 cards in hand, a Thing in the Ice. It's looking kind of bad from here. Main deck Surgical definitely got us there. Thought Scour targeting themselves, looking for a Phoenix. Main deck Arya Flame. Alright. So opponent's on some spice, but they're going to try to combo off here. Odds are I'm taking 7 from the flip Thing in the Ice after they combo off. Oh, that works too. Didn't have the bolt last turn. Let's see if they block with Thing in the Ice again. I'm imagining it has to be Moto because, like, I'm just stalling here. I'm watching the timer count down. I'm waiting for the next step to come through. I am not dropping any frames. My CPU is below 10%. Like, I can't imagine it's my lag. It's slowed down a ton since the update with the new GUI. Like, whatever this is, this really messed it up. But, like, I'm still waiting. It's been like 20 seconds to try to get to attack steps. Bradwan, if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them because I can't imagine it's a network problem. Sorry, clicking through everything trying to find where my... I mean, 13. CPU hit 12%, but I'm also streaming, so that at 60 FPS, that should not be a problem. Like, my timer's going down, but yeah, okay. Come on, Moto. I just want to play a land and bolt your thing. That's all I want to do. Actually, I'm going to hang on to this land in case I get a Faithless Looting. That's the most correct play here. Another thing in the ice. Cantripping land. Wow. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of 19 in the top 17. Them odds. See, that time it just clicked right through it. It must be because I'm actually yielding, as opposed to just trying to step through a step. Oh, and they found a Faithless Looting? That's unfortunate. Yep, pretty much just confirmed it's not the internet. Speed tests are looking fantastic. Yeah, whatever. With these slower speeds, I'm just going to try to move through it. I don't see much of a point. Force of Despair seems great. Very Macabre seems great. Probably running the Extirpates. No, that's probably not worth it. Aria Flame makes this slightly awkward just because they get a cast stuff, which means we need to put on a faster clock. Maybe no. No, I like the fairies because they come back with their reanimate. As far as trims, probably just a little bit of the slower stuff. They're definitely running the main board surgicals, so I'm okay to trim on a number of unearths and probably living ends. Electrodominance can just be damage to the face. I'm not really a huge fan of this matchup. Phoenix makes brewing very hard because I can't have creatures. I can't really run with my graveyard. Alright, protection against Phoenix, some burn. Faithless Looting to set up my hands. I'm fully on board. I just need some actual land destruction this time around. Oh boy, and look at those lands. Alright, let's just pitch 2 lands for now. Probably Faithless Looting again next turn. Alright, so pitch a Faithless Looting, fetch land. I want to be able to leave up Bolt. Whatever, Blackheath Cliffs is just the most correct. If I find another fast land, it'll come into play untapped. The Bloodstained Mire, if I draw Blood Moon, will allow me to fetch for my swamp. Alright, Fulminator's fine. Fulminator means I'm getting my land destruction on. I honestly can't believe that opponent last turn went and just got their basics. Like, what are the odds of that? You gonna remand me? Nope. Alright, goodbye land. So opponent found 1 Arclight Phoenix. Fairies got that covered. Hopefully they dump their hand looking for more. Nothing else in the yard I particularly care about. Another lightning bolt's not bad. But this is what we wanted to do from the start. Just completely obliterate my opponent's lands until they get stuck on 1 and then we get a little bit of aggro going. Alright, need a land for that, so we can wait a turn. Step Manamorphose. That's an odd play. They're looking for something. Yeah, that was just a really bad cantrip. They must not think they're getting the Phoenix back anytime soon. They must have Pyromancer's Ascensions and Arya's in hand. So I'm not doing anything this turn anyway. I'll just Blood Moon to turn off future lands, and then Avalanche Rider will take away their blue source. Just doing the Ponza things. Yeah, Bradwan, I'm slightly confused because, like, MTGO picked itself back up. I don't know what they did, but it started moving faster now. Alright, so Avalanche Riders comes down. They get to destroy a land. I'm probably not going to pay the Echo cost, but this is what we wanted to do. Okay, that's fine. You just don't take 2, but you lose your island, and there's a Blood Moon out. Alright, Faithless Looting is fine. Probably pitching a non-zero number of bolts. Oh boy, I don't like any of this. So, Electro Dominance can bring me back a lot of my land destruction, so just going to remove a bolt here. Flash one back. Sweet, so discard the Fulminator and I suppose the other bolt. That way I have removal for their Arclight Phoenixes, and then I can just Electro Dominance. We'll see if they have Surgical. Alright, first things first, discard Fairy Macabre. We're going to get rid of their 2 Arclight Phoenixes. Oh, they had 3. Well, that's fine. I'm going to get rid of their last land. Shoot them for 2. Free cast Living End. Do you have Surgical, opponent? You've got to be squatting on something. Apparently not. Destroy their mountain. This is why I wanted to play this deck. Yep, that's game. Alright. And look at that, even Fairy Macabre can block Phoenix. That's got to be disappointing. Opponent just drew 2 cards. Alright, well, they know I am a graveyard deck at this point, and they left in their Phoenixes. So I'm trying to evaluate the value of these ley lines here. I'm assuming they probably need to come in, and it means that opponent's graveyard hate is coming in. That should probably be just Surgical extractions across the board. I don't know. I already trimmed a lot of my graveyard. Maybe just the other 2 Unearths and maybe the Forces. Yeah, they're not going to go very wide. Let's give that a shot. This is fine. Doesn't do anything necessarily broken, but it's a decent start. I mean, I can bolt something, get Electro Dominance if I find a Living End. 1 more mana, which I have multiple draws to get into, is a Skelemental, Fulminator. Leading on a non-basic opponent, clearly didn't learn anything. Thought Scour, found another Thought Scour and a Sleight of Hand. Nothing great there. Well, no Thing in the Ice yet, that's good. Bold is becoming a little bad in Modern. I'm always going to love the card, but it can't hit things I actually care about. Like Thing in the Ice or Hogak, or there's just so many things that get around it. Oh boy. Already got 2 Phoenixes. Maybe should have mulled for hate. Oh well. 1 goes down. See what kind of magic we can pull. Oh, it's going to be slow magic. Found another land. There's an Arya. Unfortunately, with these colors, I can't interact with that. Let's see if we can snag something important from opponent. Hit for 6, discard half your hand. Steam Vents and a Manamorphose, so 2 good cards in hand. Manamorphose reads ping for 1, set a clock, potentially get back a Phoenix. Oh, Finale of Promise. Alright, so I'm taking 12 this turn? 15 because they get the other Phoenix back. Yeah, it's fun, clean, fair magic. Let's see if they find another Phoenix with a Thought Scour. Nope. So a Bolt's going to hit me for 7, and they have 6 coming from the Phoenixes. Oh boy. Yeah, that's not great. Electrodominance can cast something for 2. I'm looking at least 6 on the backswing. Let's see if they did have a Bolt. Odds are this game's over. That was a pretty nutter butter start for Phoenix, though. So they'll at least be able to cast Faithless Looting. Is this from hand? Nope. So they get a flashback, Faithless Looting, hit me for 4, hit me for 6. Any other spell will kill me. Yep, that's game. Alright, that's unfortunate, but that's pretty busted. Game 1 was slightly rough on our side, but Game 3 was just Phoenix is doing Phoenix things. I'm not sure if Arya is supposed to be going mainboard in that deck. I haven't really been following it very well, but it did some damage there. Like, it did a lot of damage there. But we destroyed lands, and that's all we were really hoping for. Pew pew. So Dreadheart Arcanist actually been better than Butcher there. In Game 1, it would have allowed us to recast the Bolt in the yard, meaning that the thing in the ice would have not been able to block any turn. I still think it's just hard when we drew half of our lands in the first quarter of our deck. Lily Last Hope is interesting. Another card I had considered for this deck was Kolaghan's Command, just to be able to re-pick up the land destruction creatures. It just didn't, there's not a lot of space. The Dreadhorde Butchers are basically the only flex slots in the concept. I guess Lightning Skelemental might also be a flex. I kind of wanted to give it a shot, though, see how unearthing it would go. If we can exile a Simian Spirit Guide for Faithless Looting, then unearth it on turn 1, it just gives you such an advantage. And I have Simian Spirit Guide in this deck, right? I have not seen one yet. Yep, there's 4 of them. Alright, this is turn 1 Bolt or potentially Faithless Looting. And a lot of weird action. Let's give it a shot. I think flooding out is a bigger problem than drawing into cards I care about. Opponent mulls to 5 and puts a card on top. So likely playing against Tron or Dredge. Nope. Hardened Scales Affinity. I actually haven't seen this one in a while. Alright, that's another Bolt. Let's see what we're working with here. There's my lands. So Butcher's coming down on turn 2, which means Skelemental can get in and clear the rest of their hand after they empty it. I think that's going to be a Fulminator and probably just a Bolt. They can sack most of their creatures in response to whatever I'm doing, so targeted removal is fine to keep one in hand, but they're going to have to go off pretty hard in order to get anything to work here. Alright. Oh, Coalition Relic? So this is actually a Zuza. Bolt just got a little bit better. Fulminator just got amazing. But I got rid of him. That's sad. Alright. Opponent with the upkeep stop. I know I really can't read into it, but the upkeep stop there makes me believe that they are on Hive Mind. It's the most that I can draw from that. Like, there's not a lot of reasons to have an upkeep stop unless you have one at every stop. Opponent's trying to figure out if it's worth sacking the plant to make sure this doesn't grow for a turn. Looks like they decided it was. There's a Coalition Relic, and that is a fantastic reason to have Kolaghan's commands. Okay, so they put a charge counter on, they untap, make a land drop. That's 6 mana. I'm potentially looking at a prime time next turn. I think I'd rather try to draw into the Fulminator than just Lightning Skelemental here, so let's go ahead and try to Faithless Looting. Unearth! Unearth! I want an Unearth! Alright, opponent's trying to figure out if they want to let me Faithless Looting. Boo, hiss. Alright, so that's going to be a bolt and probably the basic. So in my head, I only need 4 mana for this to work. Actually, I think I need the... Yeah, let's just get rid of 2 bolts. Because I'm going to need the basic for next turn to Avalanche Riders, assuming that they actually get anything to happen. Not finding an Unearth there is bad. Discarding the Fulminator on one was super bad, but it was in the dark. I felt like Bolt was more flexible than just a random card. Alright, make a land drop in primetime me. I know you want to. There he is. Well, they don't have an amulet, so I'm not just dead. But on the other hand, we should be insanely favored in this matchup. We want to destroy lands, and they're trying to get 6 mana. That's unfortunate. They recognized we were a graveyard deck. That's a living end, though. Alright, what do I actually care about here? I can Avalanche Riders, Skelemental, they'll keep whatever card they care about. Yeah, I think I'm just sending the Skelemental in. I guess we'll see if they actually care about the cards in their hand. Odds are no. They don't have an amulet, which means they just need to tutor up the land pieces that are lethal. They let this go through. I can put them to 10 with the bolt. Really don't think that's important either. Avalanche Riders is slightly too slow. So if they have a bounce land, they had the amulet. I guess they tapped out for prime time, but that's some odd sequencing. Alright, that's a plant token. Alright. They're going for the little dude. So they're trying to figure out if we're a graveyard deck or a burn deck. We're kind of both. Not blocking. Probably not bolting here. I don't see much value in it. Alternatively, like I draw a basic and I can Avalanche Riders blow up a land, double block and bolt. Although I'm so far behind if that's my plan. Yeah, I mean, we found 5 lands again. We kept a 1-lander, and we're at 5 lands. What does that change? Don't have land destruction for the blue source. They have a Coalition Relic with a charge counter. Yeah, I likely just need to go to the next game, but we'll wait it out just in case I draw Electro Dominance here. Opponent should have to tap out here. They get a swing in. Because they discarded the amulet, that means that they either need to find another one or they won't have lethal this turn. Faithful Saluting into a Skelemental and an Electro Dominance is lethal. So I still have outs. Let's see what lands they go get. I'm expecting them to start getting their utility lands. Gain 2 life. Bounce lands gets Talaria West. They can't pay to transmute it this turn. More plant tokens. Fetching here does speed up their clock by 1 turn, but odds are I'm going to be able to block with the Dreadhorde if I believe that's my plan anyway. They still haven't gotten the double strike land, so unless they naturally drew into it, they shouldn't be able to activate it. Or they get an amulet. Both are possible. That's an Unearth. Does Unearth do anything for me? Lets me Lightning Skelemental again. I'll be able to block with Dreadhorde Arcana, survive for a turn, ping them for 2 more, still draw into Living End. Alternatively, I can cycle it, try to get 1 card deeper for the actual win. So what is the math here? I believe that they technically die. Yep, sacrifice all creatures. I'll do 2 damage. Electro Dominance for 3 for 5 damage. Living End get 9 more damage. So that'll be lethal. They'll get back a Tribe Scout, but that's only going to be able to block the Avalanche Riders. I think the correct line is to cycle this turn. Lightning Skelemental will get rid of the cards in their hand, but unless one's a Pact of Negation and they use it on Unearth, it doesn't matter. And another land. Alright, so I'm going to keep this land in case they have in case I draw into a Faithful Saluting. But for now, Dreadhorde Butcher is going to be blocking. If this was a Dreadhorde Arcanist, Walking Ballista, yeah, they have enough. That's a slow roll from opponent. Alright, Ingot Chewer comes in. Force of Despair comes in. Does Extirpate come in? So I can kill a Prime Time and Extirpate it. They won't really have a win condition. If they're on Hive Mind, I am not going to have an answer unless they discard it to Lightning Skelemental. Fairy Macabre's not going to do anything. I think that the land destruction plan is fine. I just want the Ingot Chewers in case they have amulet early game. Lightning Bolt needs to stay in for Azusa. I'm not psyched about that, but it needs to. Last Hope doesn't do anything. Trim on some Skelementals. They do some stuff, but they're a combo deck. They're either going to find their cards or they're not. So yeah, maybe just that. Ship it back. Love to play first. Hopefully find some land destruction. Ugh, that doesn't do anything. So I can cycle the Unearth. No creatures for the living end. No Electro Dominance. I can suspend that, but that's not going to do anything by the time that matters. Okay, this is looting into whatever I need and potentially a Force of Despair on the prime time. We'll hang on to this. Opponent kept their 7. Living End is castable. Yeah, let's hang on to that. So likely pitching the Unearth here, unless I find a creature with this Faithless Looting. And I unfortunately think I have to hang on to that Ingot Shear for the time being, so let's go ahead and just do that. Not finding another land there is super bad, though. Yeah, this hand's super rough. Might have needed to just mulligan it. It felt safe, though. Alright, well, we get to blow up the amulet and get a creature in the yard for Living End. Not a whole lot to go off of, though. Ancient Stearns, probably looking for another amulet. They found an amulet. So bounce land, pick up Gemstone Mine. Oh. Okay, so that's a slow start for opponent. Oh boy. Lands. We have 19 of you. I shouldn't expect to draw lands, but we flooded so many games. Yep, opponent's getting all the mana. Wow. So if we hit the point where we're discarding a hand size... Nope, that takes that line out. I was going to say we could discard the hand size and Electro Dominance, get rid of Amulet and a bounce land, but... You've naturally drew into the bog. So we know opponent has a Gemstone Mine. If they have a bounce land, they can just cast Prime Time here. There we go. So they can... They're not going to be able to kill us this turn, which means we can still draw into a Mountain and Electro Dominance. Living in, get rid of the prime time. Although opponent will have a lot of lands and a lot of stuff going on. This one slipped away. Wait, how did they pay for that? They shouldn't have had the 2 mana. Alright, well, we will take 8. But we'll have a Talaria West, go Tutor Summoner's Pact. I mean, we can beat one Prime Time here, but we're going to have to draw into another Living End. Alright, well, they found a bog both games. We got mana screwed. What you gonna do? That actually did feel like our winning matchup. Again, I did have some reservations about this deck, but we're gonna destroy lands, and that should have been the matchup for it, but what can you do? Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Uh, it would be nice to have something like Acidic Slime in this deck. Really takes away from the fact that we're doing a Rakdos twist on the blue-red style, but just having another creature seems pretty good. Reanimating something for 2 power would also be pretty good. I know that Unearth was like the new hotness, and the only reason we got it was because of the CMC cost, but there's a lot of cards like Rally the Ancestors and Alicia Who Smiles at Death that enable based on power, and we could really use one in the deck. Ooh. So this is finally the hand that I've been wanting since the start, and that's Simian Spirit Guide into Faithless Looting. Draw and discard 2 things, then unearth like a Fulminator and just have land destruction on one. We're on the play with a Faithless Looting. Hopefully this goes a little bit better than last time around. Worst case situation, we'll always be able to Living End this early. Opponent goes to 6, keeps their hand, and scries to the bottom. Alright, let's see what this does. There's Blood Crypt. I don't think the Simian Spirit Guide's doing anything at this point. And probably not the other Faithless Looting either. Faithless Looting can draw us into creatures, though. I'm going to be greedy and get rid of the bolt, and hopefully not have to bolt something. Because next turn can be... opponent's going to have discard. Stitcher Supplier. Okay, so we're playing against Hogok. There's a Neonate and a Gravecrawler, so Living End's becoming significantly less good. Avalanche Riders is fine, so Avalanche Riders could potentially take them off their mana. Is having a Neonate and a Gravecrawler good enough? Let's see what else we find off this Faithless Looting. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So I think I'm discarding both Avalanche Riders here and expecting to Living End next turn and hoping it's going to be fast enough. So, tapped Blood Crypt, I'm not unearthing. If opponent has an altar here, we might just be dead. Because they have a recastable creature, Stitcher Supplier is going to fuel, Altar is going to fuel. Okay. Just a couple Gravecrawlers, which actually makes my... Oh, this is going to be the Hogok? Beautiful. Living End. Oh, we're going to do it. This is what we've been waiting for. Shoot you for 1. Get your graveyard in the bin. Cast the Living End. Oh, this is the moment that we live for. We're going to lose both my Avalanche Riders, but opponent's going to have no lands and take 4 this turn. Then if they play a non-basic, Fulminator's going to snag it. Oh, that felt so good. Let's see what you got, opponent. You have 3 cards in hand. Don't get to keep any of these Avalanche Riders, which is kind of a problem, but... Then I get to unearth the Fulminator next turn. Just do some monkey beats. Oh, I should have held on to that for the Faithless Looting. It is possible I just draw an Avalanche Riders, so that's probably acceptable. No blood gas actually made it so that this works. Blood gas would just allow them to recast Hogok. Got rid of a Vengevine and a bridge from below. Get rid of the bridge from below, destroy a land. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. Faithless Looting. Yeah, I mean, we'll Blood Moon next turn. That seems great. The off-color fetch. Nope, we're doing it. Opponent, do you want to show me where the Fulminator touched you? Showing the Blood Moon here is probably not the best, but it does cut them off of any color they thought was an out. Yep, that's the game. Alright, so Leyline 100% coming in. Force of Despair likely coming in. No, it's not. So Pithy Needle has to name the altar so that they can't actually get their mill combo. Extirpate will make it so I can get rid of whatever I think is a problem at instant speed. Fairy just feels our strategy. We gotta exile their cards. Like, came very prepared for this matchup. Lily Last Hope's not very good. Lightning Skelemental just feels their graveyard. Dreadhead Butcher can't get through much of what they've got. I might see an argument for Ingot Chewer. I don't know. Bolting their zombies so that they can't recast their grave crawlers seems mildly relevant. I don't know. If they go for the creature beats, though, the force is fine. I mean, if I'm looking at this matchup, Livingston is a conditional board clear. We have all these guys. All of the graveyard hate. There might be an argument to take out Blood Moon here, especially since they know about it. But, like, all of these are technically hate pieces. I'm feeling fairly well stocked for this. Unearth also might be a cut. Unearth for bolts or butchers. Actually, let's take one out for the other Ingot Chewer, just so I can snag an altar. My deck changed quite a bit. This is fine. This is great as 4 pieces of hate. Looting. They should have destroy target, so they have to figure out how to get rid of 2 ley lines. And they apparently need to go fishing, so that's perfectly okay. That's the game. All right, well, obliterated Hogok. That almost makes up for getting touched inappropriately by Amulet and by Phoenix. They didn't even get to play Magic. They cast Faithless Looting and scooped, and the previous game lost all their lands when they started to combo. That was just adorable. That's definitely going to be a highlight. Still not sure how I feel about the Dreadhorde Butcher. It's a decent card, and it can grow. It has to be answered. If your opponent's doing something mildly slow, it can punish them. But 2 mana to potentially do 2 damage is just probably not on the modern scale. There might be a reason it's not seen play. It's a card I really wanted to give a shot to, but this is a Bolt into a Cyclone, and Earth into a Blood Moon. We can probably shut some games down with this. And oddly enough, I might have to lead on the Verdant Catacombs. The opponent thinks that we're Jund. Thinks that their basics are safe. Yeah, let's... No, because I'm going to have to get a swamp with this. So let's go ahead and Blackleaf Cliffs. We still look like Jund. whenever an opponent has a name that looks like their real life name, I always try to look them up. So opponents had a lot of 3-1 and 2-3 finishes with a bunch of different decks. So this is probably going to look a lot like what I play. So I'm expecting just about anything out of this. Jund's likely the most common. Which means I'm likely getting discarded here, so Blood Moon's going to be going away. See, they played Living Twins and Blue Black, Green Red, Blue White Red, 4-color mid-range, junk mid-range. Okay, it looks like it's Hogak again. Hey, look at that, a Bridge from Blow and a Bloodghast. Who would have thought? Okay, so I'm expecting to cycle the Unearth here. Likely just going to make their land drop an altar. No, this is Stitcher Supplier. Okay, second Bloodghast. They're running Assassin's Trophies main. That's worth noting. Faithless Looting isn't terrible. Ooh, Lightning Skelemental. That's not a bad one to lean on in the future. So opponent only had one land here. I'm really hoping that this locks them out. Single land drop means Bloodghast is coming out. You can still cast Altar with no mana colors. Like, they're still in this, but probably not as much as they wanted to be. Living End is also decent. So now that they've tapped out, going to Lightning Skelemental to get rid of the bridge. Make it harder for them to combo off, but they'll also be able to discard cards, so mildly conflicted in that decision, but it feels good enough. They can't discard bridges here, otherwise they'll just get exiled when I have to sack this. Gravecrawlers. Okay, well they don't have black mana, so we're okay so far. And they found a land drop. So Bloodghasts are coming back, which means Electro Dominance might be on the table for me. Electro Dominance for 1. Okay, well, this is where it starts to go crazy. Hopefully Living End can snag it after they commit their entire graveyard. There's a Hogak. Without bridges, though, they don't have a combo going. So the Bolt will put them to 8. The Lightning Skelemental will put them to 2, which means if I draw a land, Electro Dominance into Lightning Skelemental should be lethal. If not, the second Electro Dominance should be. Alternatively, I just Faithless Looting and try to get some more stuff into the bin if I get another decent-sized creature that's just going to be lethal. That Altar makes things complicated, though. They can just sack their creatures in response to the Living End. Well, that Bloodstained Mire gives me the 2 damage, so I think I actually might need to... I don't know what I need to do here. That Unearth is tempting, though. Yeah, that Unearth is super tempting. Alright, so let's get rid of the Simian Spirit Guide and one of the Electro Dominances. We can go ahead and unearth the Lightning Skelemental. Hold up the Bolt. If they try to block, then I'll just Bolt it and also get my trample damage over. They'll discard the last 2 cards in hand. If they don't block it, then that means that I probably should have held on to the Simian Spirit Guide to Electro Dominance as an instant. Yeah, that might have been a mistake. I'm currently looking at 15 damage on the table, though. That's fine. I'll just get them to discard their last 2 cards. If they sack it now, it just means I trample more over. Oh boy, that's a lot. Opponent has to discard the last 2 cards. Carrion Feeder and a Noose Constrictor. That's spicy. I haven't seen that yet. Alright, so flashback Faithful Sleuting. I think I'm keeping the land for now. Seems like the best play. Then, funny enough, opponent's probably not going to get in, because if opponent gets in, that means that they can't recast Hogak very easily. At least not get in for enough to get me below 10 so the Bloodghast get haste. They can technically sack these creatures now, hopefully find a bridge from below and try to combo kill me. We've had a lot of game against them in game 1, though. I'm really surprised this is still game 1. They found their bridge from below, so they need 1 more before it's a guaranteed combo kill. Also depends on what card they have in hand. They can get back the Bloodghast if it's a land, but they would have sacked those first over the Stitcher Suppliers, so that's probably not as likely. They can't cast the Grave Crawlers. Alright, well that's Hogak, and that's probably getting the Vengevine back. Yep, it's this deck. Bradwin, you missed it. They went all out on turn 2. I ended up living ending and getting back 2 Avalanche Riders and getting all their lands. And then I completely locked them out. We go to the next game. I got 2 Leylines and they just scooped. The fact that they get to sack their creatures and fill their graveyard for this living end makes it insanely painful. Alright, they have 2 bridges now. They just combo milled me. Yay, this deck! Alright, well. Same plan. Leylines, Ingot Chewers for the whatever it's called, Extirpates, and Pithing Needle for the altar, Ingot Chewers for the altar. Fairy Macabres, just I can actually hit the pieces I care about. Butcher comes out. Skelementals, Trim, probably just come out. I can't remember what I did last time. Lily's terrible. Trim on and Unearth is something I did last time. Maybe it was just all the Skelementals. Oh, it was the Bolts and keep some Skelementals. Alright, let's try this again. Love to play first. This hand has no hate pieces in it other than the Ingot Chewer, which isn't good enough. This is a Leyline, Faithful Sleuting, Dominance, Blood Moon. This probably isn't good enough, but I don't want to go much lower. Third land, I think can go away for now. I'm looking for Extirpates or Fairies. We'll see if they got their Evoker, dude. Simian Spirit Guide would also be nice. A turn 2 Blood Moon on the play is actually plausible as a win condition. Pithing Needle for altar. They're going to have to get rid of Leyline first. Yeah, I'd rather have the combo getting set up and a Blood Moon ready to lock him out. Alright, Verdant gets to go get their Godly Shrine so they can evoke and destroy the Leyline. Or starting on Faithless Looting means they probably don't have the action. Last time opponent scooped here. Clicked on the wrong column. Altar, Gravecrawler. Alright, Fairy's fine. So looking for a land for this Blood Moon. If they blow up the ley line, I can still Fairy to get rid of the combo. Oh, they're still digging. Come on, land. I'd love land. Because if they don't get white, they can't actually evoke to destroy the ley line. Well, I suppose that's a thing. Yeah, I think I have to keep the combo. Alright, still looking for a land. "13 cards in, saw 2. There's an Overgrown Tomb, so they still don't have the Evoker. They were running main deck Trophy, though, so I could see a Trophy coming down. Or just a Nature's Claim. Alright. Nothing too deadly there, but hopefully the Blood Moon will lock him out. Alright, let's see what you can do. If I still had the Pithy Needle, I'd be able to Pithy Needle the altar and have a decent shot here. The Fairy will get me a little bit of coverage, but not a lot. Yep, there's the altar. Gonna hit for 1, then probably mill. Blood Crypt. That means Faithless Looting's coming out. Just looking for the combo or something else to lock him down. Fulminator's interesting here. I mean, it's better than anything else I've got going on, so may as well. So a good chunk of time is probably going to have to go by before they can actually cast Nature's Claim. They can Faithless Looting as much as they want to. Interesting enough, I might have needed to get the other swamp somehow before I Blood Mooned. That would have allowed me to actually cast a Leyline of the Void if I drew into one. Ooh, what does Unearth do? Nothing yet, but Unearth can completely take them off mana. Do I just blow up a land now? Yeah, I don't care about the 1 damage coming at me. May have been more correct to hit the green source. I don't think they have a way to interact with my Blood Moon with just the red mana, though. Alright, that's another Unearth, so... Unearth, Lightning Skelemental, they can't discard anything super meaningful. Alternatively, just Unearth the Fulminator, blow up the last land, and then they're drawing into Faithless Looting. Yeah, guess that works. Don't really have any way to get that Pithy Needle back. That is a living end. So if I Electro Dominance this, they can just sack it, counter the Electro Dominance. If I hit them, they'll just sack the Stitcher Supplier to the altar, potentially get back more stuff than I'm getting. I can cycle the Unearth and try to find an actual piece of threat Or I can just get the Fulminator back when they get a land and blow it up. I can get Lightning Skelemental, make them discard 2 cards, but those 2 cards are probably going to help them. They discard to hand size. It's not really any more beneficial than making them discard 2. I think I'm on Cycle the Unearth. And I could potentially get an Extirpate, so I'm going to leave black up. There's a Cliffs, and I do actually want that in case I find a Avalanche Rider. I do have another Faithless Looting in here, but being able to Avalanche Rider feels high enough power that I need to have the 4th land. Oh, I actually probably should have left up. Oh, I wouldn't have known I was drawing the land. I could have left up double red to Electro Dominance if they sacked the Stitcher Supplier in response to the trigger. Alright, that is a bridge. That makes me a little more interested in... Actually, not a whole lot. So I can Fairy, get rid of the bridge, but that doesn't really benefit anything for me. I can Electro Dominance Living End and snag anything that I care about from opponent's yard with the Fairy, and then get the Fairy back as well. That'd put up a real clock. Right now I'm lacking pressure. Alternatively, I could flash back the Faithless Looting and just bend one of the cards I draw on the ley line. But this looks like opponent's trying to set up this turn. So I don't think I can go too crazy. I can always wait for them to combo off when they have a decent board state, just Electro Dominance. Yeah, I think I have to hold. Unfortunately, I just don't have enough going on to apply pressure to actually take Hogok down. Discard another bridge from below. Oh, I wasn't supposed to play that. Oh, well, that's fine. That actually leaves up enough for Electro Dominance Living End. So let's go ahead and flash back the Faithless Looting and see what we've got to play with. Yeah, I don't want the extra land. Whatever, non-token. I believe they still get their tokens if I exile this in response to the trigger. It does say, is put into the graveyard from the battlefield if Bridge from Below is in your graveyard. Create a 2/2. Alright, I am going to try. And I guess we'll see how this goes. He found a Hogok. Yay, no tokens. Okay, that's what I was hoping would happen. So, can't cast the Hogok. My Electro Dominance will bring it back, which sucks, but we'll get there. There's a Cliffs. They discarded another Bridge from Below. Oh boy. So, what are the odds that I actually just Living End and blow up my Fulminator? Not great. Electro Dominance isn't even getting close to lethal. I don't have another Faithless Looting to flash back. This is such a slow game. Hey, they found a land, but no blood gas. That is a Fulminator that quite successfully kills the Blackheath Cliffs and the Bridge from Below. That's what I've needed. I really, really needed that. And that is a Simian Spirit Guide. which doesn't really do a whole lot, but it's a start. Right now, I control the board pretty decisively, so I'm going to run out the Simian Spirit Guide. If I end up sacking it to the Electro Dominance, that actually seems fine. But putting enough pressure on the table to force opponent to start committing seems like where I need to be at. Plus, if they try to start casting things, then I can just get rid of a land and do monkey beats. Alright, found a Gravecrawler and a Dark Blast. Well, they can't cast the Dark Blast, so that's fine. Can't really cast the Gravecrawler either. Boy. So, currently hitting for 3. If I keep the lands, I can hit for 4, and that's 1 more attack. Alright, Electro Dominance your face for lethal seems pretty good. Give you a board just for the tilt. Opponent definitely knows what we're doing now, though. They still haven't seen the Avalanche Riders, but it should be pretty clear. Oh, and there's an Ingot Chewer. Yeah, there's no way that we're not winning this. Free beats. Sure, why not? For 5. Don't want to show them that. Okay, game 3. Does anything change? I don't believe so. I mean, that was basically just a Blood Moon win with an insanely awkward draw from our deck. Opponent did see that we were a living in deck, but I don't really think that changes anything. They also know that we're on ley lines, although that was a pretty safe assumption given the fact that we're a black deck with Faithless Looting. I guess we did technically show them the Pithy Needle as well, but odds are they brought in a lot of sideboard hate for anti-graveyard stuff, so anything that had enchantments or artifacts probably had to come in. We also showed them the Fairy Macabre. That one's harder to counter. You'd have to have a Delve card, like Harvest Pyre. I don't think this is good enough. It's so close, but I don't think this is good enough. Oh boy. Alright, well, I'm probably going to have to make a note to self and be like, was this good enough? If I had a Ingot Chewer and a Fairy Macabre, are they on a slow enough start? But I think I need the ley line. This is as good as it's going to get. That's a Fulminator for a slow land? Nope. Alright, should have kept the first hand. Bad decisions were made. Alright, well that's a decent draw. Not doing anything, so Shockland. Bloodstained Mire's probably getting a basic Swamp. Carrion Feeder. So they have an engine going. And a Neonate. One-sided board clear is relevant here. I'm going to run out the Bloodstained Mire in case I have to do it, but odds are that I just have to take some beats. I know, slowing the clock a whole couple of turns also seems kind of relevant. Yeah, for right now, taking the 4. We'll see what's going on. Sure. Another fairy is perfectly acceptable. So I can clear the board, clear their graveyard, and have 4 power in the air. Is this a sack neonate discard bridge? Apparently not. Opponent does have a basic swamp. That makes life a little bit harder. They can also just go fetch and get a forest if they've got one. Odds are if they're running Nature's Claims, they do have a basic forest somewhere in their list. Yes, please spend all of your mana doing this turn. There you go. Alright, you got a couple of lands. Do it again. Wow, they are really protecting this Verdant Catacombs. Apparently not worth it. Alright. Yeah, may as well make it for one. Let's go get a swamp. Poke you, opponent. What you doing over there? You awake? There's the neonate. Let that resolve. Sack the Gravecrawler. Do it. Okay. So they should sack the Carrion Feeder here. So I'll be in the yard. Okay, that's fine. Sack the feeder. Do it! Yes! The blowouts! That feels good. Alright. 4 flying power. Now it's my turn. Opponent, do you have anything good over there? Because I'm sitting on Verdant Catacombs I'm not overly excited about. Oh, that's a Blood Moon. Okay. I know what I'm doing next turn. Although I gotta see what opponent can do with 4 mana. That Electro Dominance also would have sped up the clock by a full turn. That probably was worth considering. Like, think about it for just a moment. Ooh, that's an Avalanche Riders if I untap. You gonna go get a green source? Oh, you do have a basic forest. Alright, well, Avalanche Riders is going to be excited about that one. The fetch also put you back on a 3-turn clock, so Electro Dominance isn't nearly as good. You do have 3 colors of their deck, though. That's probably fair. Like, there's the Nature's Claim. Opponent needs to find something good here, though. Definitely have them on a timer. Ooh, Extirpate. Alright, so if they try to do something stupid, I can answer it in instant speed, split second. All that fun stuff. Alright, that works too. So I'm going to try to use this Extirpate defensively here, but I'm definitely going to Avalanche Riders to speed up the clock by a full turn and get rid of their green source. Okay, that's fair. So this is going to put me off of holding up the Extirpate. But this is going to make the Fairy lethal, so they're going to have to combo mill me here, which is going to require an Altar of Dementia, flipping 2 Bridge from Belows. That's a start. Do you have the Altar? They milled an Altar. Don't think they're getting there. Because they can Hogok now, but it's not like it matters. Ah, they found one. So, Alter, sack the carrion feeder can also kind of get there. Although, they'll only have one zombie and they'll be tapped out. So I think that does it. Yep, opponent concedes. All right, so we took 2 Hogok matches. I'm actually putting this in the significantly better than I was originally expecting column. We did get wrecked by the other 2 decks, but I think we also had rough draws. This just doesn't cut it. If one of these was a Faithless Looting, I'd be all on board, but just too slow. This is all kinds of delicious. All right, opponent keeps their 7. I'm never out of the ballpark for a Blood Moon, especially game 1. So this is going to be a snow-covered mountain, Faithless Looting. Discard, oh boy, 2 Lightning Skelementals. And hope opponent isn't on main board Surgicals, like in game 1, or match 1. Such a common modern start. Faithless Looting, discarding 2 Lightning Skelementals. Well, next turn is going to be an Unearth with a Lightning Bolt. And then hopefully follow it up with the Blood Moon. This is fine. Ooh, what is that? Yazova Dragonclaw. That must be a promo art I never saw. No, she's one of the teamer things, but... Oh, that's the Act of Treason one? Yeah, she wasn't very good in Standard. I tried to play her in one of the Coco lists, but it's just too hard to activate her. It's conditional, it costs a lot of mana, and 3 mana for a 4-2 trample just isn't nearly good enough. Again? Seriously, again? Alright, Unearth is looking significantly less appealing, but it's still probably what I'm doing. That's a cliff, so what do I do with Unearth? So I can attack in, they can discard, they can mill 3, put them on a shorter clock, and Blood Moon hopefully locks them out next turn. I mean, these are the cards I have. No wonder so many people are playing main deck Graveyard Hate. Yep, this is fine. We'll see if they want to mill 3 and also discard cards that are relevant. Hopefully they don't realize I have to sack this and get rid of their Bridge from Belows. Lightning Axe, Bloodghast, Faithless Looting. Yep. Alright, so opponent makes a land drop, they play an altar. They cast Hogok with everything in the yard. I guess that wouldn't work unless they have a fetch land. If they have a fetch land, they could do that. Then my Lightning Bolt loses a lot of value. If they put an altar on the stack, I believe I'm killing the Bloodghast in response, and that way they can't cast Hogok this turn. I'm pretty far off from my combo, but any land drop will make it so that they can... Yep. Get the Bloodghast back. I don't know. I guess I could kill the Stitcher Supplier. They'll mill more, but if I Blood Moon next turn, I could potentially lock them out from casting anything else. So they'd have to hit another Bloodghast. I just hope they go get a non-basic. That's like the bottom line here. Go fetch a non-basic, cast an altar, and let me kill something while the altar's on the stack. That's my line to success here. Alternatively, they're just going to slam a Carrion Feeder, sack the Stitcher Supplier, cast Hogok. Okay. If they hit a Bloodghast, they can cast it. If they hit a Bloodghast, they can get it back. If they hit a Gravecrawler now, they can cast it. I think I have to hit the Stitcher Supplier because odds are they'll find a land before they find one of the other cards that matter. Although this gives them a better chance of milling into a Bridge from Below, and the Bridge from Below is going to make it so that they can sack the Bloodghast for tokens. Okay, so it's still fine so far. Not excited about it, but still fine. That's an Unearth. Unearth, hit for 6. Nope, still gonna Blood Moon here. Best shot of winning is they won't be able to cast their spells, and that's a Blood Moon. Next turn can be Unearth, hit for 6, and make them discard hopefully the last 2 cards in their hand that aren't very good. This will also turn off getting green, although they shouldn't have Nature's Claim main board. Or Assassin's. The other list had Assassin's Trophy main board. I could see 1 or 2 main board. Worst case scenario, I draw a... Lovely. So now they can cast Hogok. So I think my line to win here actually is turning into draw Living End and cycle Unearth into a Electrodominance. 2-card combo, put in 2 Lightning Skelementals. They'll hopefully have some creatures that can't block, and now when they sack everything, Bridge is going to be active. We might be losing game 1. Although I think we lost game 1 in the last match and just came back and did perfectly okay. Alright, they're going to try to go infinite here. So these Vengevines shouldn't be coming back this turn. It's only whenever you cast a spell if it's a second creature, not if it's been more than 2. Alright, decided recasting Hogok wasn't worth it. He's still deciding. If he attacks with the Vengevine, he shouldn't be able to recast Hogok. Alright, well, unearthing my Lightning Skelemental is actually super relevant here, because it'll get rid of their Bridge and make them discard their last 2 cards. They'll be able to combo pretty hard here this turn, but... yeah, sacking the Bloodghast will mean that they get at least 1 more zombie. They still haven't hit a Gravecrawler. They do have the black up for that in case they find one. Here comes Hogok. It's a big boy right there. Skelemental can't get in now, but it will get rid of Bridge from Below. It's also possible opponent just mills here. It looks like they're trying to set up for the combo kill. I don't think they're trying to do natural beats, although they're currently representing 16 damage to kill me on the backswing, so they could just stop. Sacking the Bloodghast is basically free, though. They also have 4 Vengevines in the yard. They just need to cast 2 creatures next turn. I guess it's harder without the Gravecrawlers. Depends on what's in their hand. If they decide to sack Hogak, though, Lightning Skelemental should be able to close this out. Alright, another Hogak. Then with this on the stack, they're supposed to sack this one. They do. They found a Gravecrawler and a Bloodghast. They've already made their land drop for turn, though. Still have not found a second bridge from below. Gonna cast the other Hogak in the yard. I'm pretty sure they're not infinite until they find another bridge, which they just did. So that's game. Because they just cycle those back. I don't think they have enough to mill me, though, do they? I'm actually going to see. It seemed like they got a little bit of a slower start on this one. They do technically have the bridges now, but because it took them so long to get the second one, they can only mill me for 40... Sorry. 10. They can mill me for about 28. They get a recast Hogak like 3 times. Yeah, that should be lethal. I just want to see another bridge. Oh, there's one. Yep, we're good. Oh, that's so frustrating. Alright, well, gonna be a pro at boarding for this matchup. Then I think is 2 living ends. Oh, no, it was the Dreadboard Butchers. Derp to derp. Sure, why not? Let's do this. Yeah, so we've played Hogak twice this match. So we lost to Phoenix, we lost to Azusa Titan, although we should have dominated that. Just had some really awkward draws, but then we beat Hogak twice already. So this is the last match. Hopefully going to take it with all the sideboard hate again. We have a pretty wide variety. We have the extirpates for split second, so we can get rid of anything that actually matters. Force of Despair, so that if they commit hard, we can just kill their entire board. Pithy Needle stops Relic pretty successfully. Leyline and Blood Moon are really hard for them to interact with, both of them. Ingot Chewer, Evoke, is a creature that can just destroy the altar. Like, we have plenty of things to do here, but getting a little sick of playing this matchup. This deck is insanely powerful. Let me see if I can find the comment from Reddit. So, I think this is the guy. Hogak was in 4th and 5th and 8th, but it made up 50% of the top 16 overall. And if you look at the sideboard hate, where is it? Huh. There was a list in here talking about all the sideboard hate. 6.4 would probably find it. Yeah. So the top guy actually mentioned it. There's 51 pieces of graveyard hate because of Hogak and the main and sideboard combined. Like, everybody is needing to play sideboard hate. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is no mana. I can't even cast my extirpate here. I honestly don't think I can keep this. I can try to scry into a black source, and that probably makes it playable, but I need more lands, and I only have 19. I have no Faithless Looting or Filtering. Can I be greedy? Their deck is just so powerful, and they've got to have some sideboard hate. They kept a 7. Alright. Not overly excited about this hand. But yeah, like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Every deck is averaging 6.4 pieces of hate. Most of them have 2 in the main and 4 in the side. Like, that's just absolutely ridiculous for a meta requirement. Alright, got rid of a Hogok and a land. So they must not be overly ready yet. This Bloodstained Mire is likely getting my basic swamp, but I'm not going to fetch it until I have 3 mana. I need to be able to do something with my extirpate, but if I draw into a Blood Moon, I need to have a basic black mana. It's going to be hard to cast Lightning Skelemental if I do happen to draw into one of my 2 basic swamps, though, so another reason to wait. Okay, that is a land, so one of these is going to get me a Blood Crypt, just for fixing reasons. The other one's going to get me a basic swamp. This guy's going to be a Lightning Skelemental, coming in fast and hard, hopefully making opponent discard 2 of their 4 cards. And we'll see how ready they are to deal with the Leyline. Odds are this was a setup neonate. This neonate was setting up to destroy the Leyline and then try to go off by discarding. They use the white evoke creature. Let me see if I can find it. This guy. Evoke for a white, destroy target enchantment. That's the sideboard tech that they have. Yeah, they need to find their Godless Shrine, but they discarded white sources, so starting to think that they might not have the fetch for it yet. That is an Electro Dominance with Living End. So Fulminator's coming down. He's not going to be able to block, but I want them to fear fetching the white source until they absolutely have to. And then Electro Dominance, get back the Lightning Skelemental. I probably should have done that now. That might have been a little loose. Getting the last 2 cards that they have seems appropriate. Although I'm really getting the feeling that they don't have it at this exact moment. Insolent Neonate has Menace, so I can't block it with just a Fulminator. Blood Crypt. Okay, so Blood Crypt is hanging around until I find an Avalanche Rider or a Faithless Looting. In the meantime, that's just going to be Fulminator getting in for 2. Then, in a future turn, another Lightning Skelemental can be lethal. Living End is also a fantastic board clear with Leyline out. Blood Crypt's likely coming out just to do 2 damage with Electro Dominance. Being able to cast Extirpate off of it also is starting to feel relevant. Because like 1 more land means that the Lightning Skelemental with 2 Electro Dominances for 3 is lethal. I can also just kill the Neonate. It'll make them sack it into nothing. Let's see. So if I do it now, I blow up a land, get an attack in for... Nope, that's next turn. Next turn is lethal and instep. Or is it now? No, it's only 3. Alright. Probably should have sacked the Fulminator and Electro and Living Dead last turn in step, but whatever. May as well run out the Bloodstained Mire. Odds are I'm just going to Electro Dominance if they're in step for some damage. Shock is good. They fragmentize. Sure. Let's go ahead and get rid of the other colored source. Then I'm going to leave up the Extirpate. Nope, I can't do that now. I have to do it in step because of the Ball Lightning. Lovely. All right. This is going to be an Extirpate on the bridge from below. Let me see if I can take a look at their deck. Their hand, some garbage. Their deck, pictures are worth 1,000 words. Let's see, Altar of Dementia, Bloodghast, Carrion Feeder, 1 Fragmentize, 4 Wismares. Stitcher's Supplier, Hogok. Honestly, nothing spectacular here, just the Fragmentizes and the Wismares. So that all is fine. How many white sources do they run? Just the single... Okay. Sure, let's get rid of these guys. There's 4 in exile. Yeah, not a huge fan of opponent letting us see their deck here. They don't technically know that they're dead, but they're clearly not doing a whole lot. Okay, that that Hogok makes it a little bit slower. But still dead to Electro Dominances. I mean this in the most loving and supportive way possible, but I hope he doesn't do well. Hogok is just so annoying. People are talking about like everybody hates the new hotness, but there are still a couple of decks I just absolutely despise playing against. It's basically Tron, Phoenix, and this is annoying, but it's just power level annoying. It's not frustrating to play against. I guess this is kind of bad manners. I am technically playing with my food. I want to make sure that they don't have interaction, though. So I wanted them to do that first, which is why I did it in that order. This means that they see one less card before I hit them with lethal. Alright, does this change anything? I don't really believe so. So they had no graveyard hate of their own. I guess Unearth is a little bit better. I still like the Living End plan, especially with Leyline out. Hitting 2 Leylines is just GG's if they're planning on 6 ways to remove it, and I have extirpates. Yeah, I mean, this is fine. We've beat Hogok post-board every game so far, so hopefully this goes the distance. We even awkwarded Mulligan to a super awkward hand there. Blood Moon has been surprisingly decent in this matchup. Blood Moon has made it so that they can't cast their grave crawlers from the board. Altar is still castable underneath it, though. I think we might need more Pithy Needles on the side and probably less Ingot Chewer shenanigans. The odds of Altar coming down and killing us seem significantly higher than them just giving us a turn to blow it up. I do like that this goes into the yard and can be brought back with Living End, but that seems mildly relevant. They don't... I don't know. I guess they still bring in Artifact Hate. Yeah, I don't know what the right call is there. Pithy Needle being 1 mana feels relevant. It also forces them to dilute their deck more. Yeah, this probably isn't good enough. This is just a lot of mana. It does mean that we're drawing into basically action, but every time I've kept a hand like this, we end up getting flooded out. I don't know. I'm so conflicted about wanting Hogok to do well in a GP. If it does well, it's going to be higher on the radar list for banning, but if it doesn't do well, then it means that people are figuring out how to board against it, but it also means diluting your deck to be more just graveyard hate and not even necessarily interactive. I don't think sticking 6 cards into your 75 in order to shore up one matchup is really what a healthy format looks like. But just the fact that decks like Phoenix get to run Surgical main board means that they get to hedge up certain matchups and also just free cast spells that further their game plan. Where like us having to bring in Extirpate here is just so awkward. When a card like Fairy Macabre actually does help our strategy, but it isn't nearly powerful enough to just take 2 cards away. You need to take away the whole strategy. Alright, I'd love to mulligan my hand and see what I can get. There we go. Leyline, turn 2, Blood Moon, Fairy Macabre. That's right. This is why we've been winning every Hogok match at postboard. We even have our basic swamp. It's beautiful. Alright, so opponent keeps. They put a card to top. I think I'm bottoming that. We're going to see plenty of lands, and I'd like to find some actual real action. Alright, you're going to fetch land and evoke us. That's the future I see. Apparently not. Force is kind of a cute card. I don't really see it doing a whole lot in this current setup. I think I'd rather have the Fairy Macabre, but if it looks like they're not getting any interaction, then we can evaluate from there. If this is a Godless Shrine, I might force them off their colors here. Okay, that works. So, evoke me. Or be greedy. Run out the altar. Show me the altar. Never expect turn 2 Blood Moon against the red-black deck. We are technically Ponza, although it's mostly been showing off our sideboard graveyard hate this league. I should update the record. We are currently 1-1 versus Hogak. Jeez, if opponent takes much longer, we might actually time them out. Alright, something non-threatening. I mean, like, if you pass back, I'm happy. I'm going to shut off 5 cards in your deck with this Blood Moon. Wow, opponent's 12 minutes behind. Alright, that's a living end. So we ended up taking the match after surgically. They ended up getting a Hogak out, and then I Electro Dominance for lethal. Then here, just lock them off of red. There's a Skelemental. Honestly, if opponent's going to start trying to play a fair game, this Force of Despair is going to go far. I've honestly felt like I need more Avalanche Riders. Like, getting to the 4 mana has been hard, but I feel like I need more land destruction to actually make the Ponza feel relevant. So, Lightning Skelemental here is going to get in. They're going to discard 2 cards. If they're relevant, I guess I can just ferry them. And this Living End can stick around until, I don't know. When we trim on Lightning Skelementals and the Dread Horde Butchers, it's kind of hard to have a win condition. Like, we just get some chip damage in. We turn into a really weird prison deck. Fulminators are kind of a slow clock, and we end up sacking them to destroy our opponent's lands anyway. I do want a stronger... No, stop. No! Okay, that was a punt. Come on, give me priority. I F6 through my turn. I was supposed to eat those blood gas. Yep, eating the blood gas. Didn't want that to happen. So hopefully opponent's back on the fair game plan. If they are, that means that we should find something pretty decent here in a moment. Alright, and this is why we have Force. They get a mill with Altar. But we're not going to be taking beats from the Vengevine. Yeah, I feel like we locked him out, but we just don't have the pressure. So what's actually in our sideboard at the moment? We have 5 threats, some reach, and recursion for our threats. Now I got rid of that living end, it means that I need to find a couple of Electro Dominances. And a living end to get some threats back. The opponent shouldn't be able to Hogak anytime soon, so that's nice. Alright, Monkey Beats it is. I did forget that we've done Monkey Beats a couple of times tonight. Bears do deal 2 damage, and when opponents hit 11, that's relevant. Hanging on to the snow-covered mountain for an Avalanche Rider or for a Faithless Looting. Okay, so that's a combo piece. Also making me consider running out the snow-covered mountain. Just I can Electro Dominance for one more. Go on, Balu. Do it. I believe in you. That is a Faithless Looting. Those are terrible lands. So making my land drop here because another land will be lethal. Oh, that works too. Let's just do that. I like that. All right, so this league was a very interesting one. Very, very interesting. We did go 3-2, but all three of those wins were versus Hogok, which is. I mean, that's a sentence. Let's go ahead and start off by opening this guy. May as well, we earned it. Twilight Shepherd, Victory's Herald. This is a starter deck 17. When it attacks, attacking creatures gain flying and lifelink for 6 mana. That's actually kind of relevant in Commander. But overall, terrible treasure chest. So, I mean, if I pull this back up and go back to record, all three of these were Hogok, and we won every single post-board game. Every single one of them. Amulet Titan we lost, but I probably just didn't keep good hands. And then the Phoenix matchup. So I think I actually kept one of those hands because I was curious to see how Dreadhorde Butcher would do, and it couldn't get in past Thing in the Ice. So it clearly showed the power. Let's go back to the deck view for a second. Blood Moon, 3 copies, actually did a lot. Yeah, we do have a lot of Hogak hate in our sideboard. But to be fair, like, a lot of these cards are dual purpose. Like, Ingot Chewer can come in versus any of the Urza decks. It can come in versus Hardened Scales Affinity. It can come in versus just any deck that has an artifact. Like, just because they run Altar doesn't mean that Ingot Chewer is a bad choice. It hits our yard and then comes back with Living End for double value as well as being a threat after Living End. Fairy Macabre. So, like, if I do go back to the actual screen for a second, every deck was running on average 6.4, so 6.5 cards for Graveyard Hate. When we look at our deck, we have 2 Fairy Macabres, 2 Extirpates, 4 Leyline of the Void. So we have 1.5 more than the average deck, but we also played it 3 times, so that felt relevant. I do think that the Force of Despair is not the right card for the board. We brought it in, but it didn't really feel right. I think we need more threats in this deck. Ponza is Ponza, and this is a bad take on it. Being able to get back Fulminator seemed great. If we played any of the snow-covered decks that just run a bunch of basics, we're kind of screwed. Avalanche Riders overperformed every time that we saw them. Opponent actually killed it the second it came into place, and then again on our upkeep, they didn't even want us to try to pay the Echo. They didn't want to stick it around. So, I don't know. I know I've been doing a lot with Living End lately, but it's a really unique, fun card combo, and it's fairly easy to enable. I think having the Arcanist Butchers be something a little bit more threatening might be relevant. I don't know what that is, though. K-Commands also seem mildly relevant in this deck. You can pick back up a threat. Lightning Skelemental Unearth was also an all-star. I know some generalists have been tinkering with the idea because you can buy back a Goyf, you can buy back a Lightning Skelemental. Lightning Skelemental is 6 damage plus a 2-for-1, and likely also kills a blocking creature. It's just really good value. So it's so hard to sell these random decks. I played this because it was fun and it destroyed lands and we made people sad. But tonight that was Hogak players. But we made people sad. And I think that's about all you can really ask for. But anyways, guys, I am thirteene. I do videos for Squirrel Dealer. I do a bunch of random fun crap like Rakdos Ponza, just wanted to destroy lands. That's what I do. Feel free to check out squirreldealer.com or our YouTube channel. I stream Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday nights. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to need to take a personal night off for a family birthday. So, unfortunately, only 2 videos this week, but Yeah, feel free to go check out any of the archive videos. We have a lot of fun ones up there. I typically do comment if they're not worth watching or if we hit some really bad matchups, but basically just do something fun 3 times a week. And thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all Wednesday. Have a good one, everybody.